Welcome to Architred Gaming. I'm the Archmaster. Thank you for dropping by. Alright, so today we are going on to the basics of class in Arches and Avatars, my own tabletop adventure game system that I'm making. It's not done at all. It's going to be a whole lot thicker than that. I just lost my page. But yeah, I'm going through the classes, and I'm really just going through one class to show you an example of the structure of classes and how they work. It's slightly different from 5e, but there's only one extra little thing you got to worry about, and all the rest is the very same. Alright, so I'm going to use the Armiger class as my example. The Armiger is your medium armor fighter. I looked through so many names to try to find the one for this, and I landed on Armiger. I like it. Technically, in real life, an Armiger is like a standard bearer. He's like a warrior that carries the standard and whatnot. It's like, cool, works for me. Armiger, it's a cool word. It means soldier, warrior, great. So yeah, in my system, you have the structure of your class is your class and your subclass. But in between your class and your subclass, there's your path. Your path gives you, I think, 3 features, right? It's not something you pick. It's not complex. You pick your class and you pick your subclass. And your subclass lies along a path. And so you get the features on that path along with your subclass and class features, right? So you don't have to pick a class and a path and a subclass and hope they work. It's not complex like that. Still what you know, you pick your class, pick your subclass, and then you're like, oh, this subclass lies along this path. I get these things too. It's simple. So anyway, when you choose your class at first level, the class tells you what attribute is especially either useful or required for that class. So this says all Armigers need strength in battle to be successful. You gain +1 strength score. So yes, at level 1, when you pick your class, you actually get a bonus to the score that is actually needed most for that class. All right. At level 1, also, all of this stuff is level 1. I'll tell you when we get past level 1. You get additional hit points. Add 1d10 to your HP at 1st, 5th, and 10th level. So, as we went through last time, with your race, you roll your 3 dice and add your con mod once, which may be positive or negative. And then you also get your class hit die. And it's just like 5e, your fighter, which this is what this is, it's the fighter renamed, essentially. Your fighter has the d10, the barbarian, which I call brute, has the d12. Your paladin soldier, which is really just a heavy armor fighter, I call it the bulwark. He has a d10, just like paladin did. Your rogue has a d8, your wizard has a d6. It's all the same stuff you know. But yeah, you add that on top. So the average HP of a character who's like a human, you have 3 d8, and you have like maybe a +2 con mod, and then you roll your d8, class die if you choose a class with a d8, which again is average. Then you have like 18 HP, which is like decent. That's understandable. That's realistic. That's a regular amount of HP. A regular person has 18, not 4. Like the commoners in 5e, that's ridiculous. A commoner in my system has about 13 HP, because it's just your 3d8 and con mod and no extra class die. But if you have that class die, it's like 18. It goes from 13 to 18. It's a pretty good bonus. And of course, as you level up, if you put more points into con, and your con mod goes up, then of course your max HP goes up with it. But yeah, you actually have a decent amount of HP at level 1. You don't need to worry about playing Lost Mines of Phandelver and getting TPK'd at the goblins and TPK'd at the bugbears and TPK'd at everything else. It's like, no, you actually have like 18 HP instead of 6 or 10. Alright. And also it doesn't go much higher than that, so you don't have the crazy HP bloat and ridiculously long fights, which are boring, by the way, because you have so much HP and such a large safety net that you do in 5e. You don't get that either. The way I do HP fixes several problems. I've probably told you that several times. Alright, class proficiencies. Next thing, you gain novice proficiency with simple and martial weapons. Again, 3 levels of proficiency: novice, journeyman, adept. You can remember it because journey is right in the middle of novice and adept. Because you're on the journey, you're halfway between. So yeah, you gain novice proficiency with light armor, light shields, and medium shields. No heavy. The Armiger is the medium, or light if you want, but they're the medium armor warrior, fighter. This increases to journeyman at 4th level and adept at 8th level. So your typo, I forgot to add that. Anyway, your proficiency with your weapons and armor increases at, well, you get it at level 1, at the level 4, and then at the level 8. It increases automatically as you go. So you don't have to spend perk points or skill points or anything on that. It just increases as you go. You can choose not to let it increase and instead get something somewhere else. If you're like, I never use armor, I'm going to spend that increase on something else. You can't do that, but that's, later. All right. You gain novice proficiency in the tactics skill and your choice of assess, athletics, forcing, intimidation, or creature skills. With GM's permission, you can just choose any skills out of the group that you want. There are 20 skills. But yeah, these are the ones that are more like recommended, not the ones you have to take. All right. Base class features. This is still level 1. Watchful Combatant. When you use an achieve action, which again is your arms, it's the thing you do in the game. It doesn't have to use your arms, but it generally does. When you use an achieve action to attack a creature, you also gain AC as if you defended from that creature with that action. So in the combat video, I said that you can spend an action to defend from someone, or you can spend an action to attack them, right? As an Armiger, level 1, you do both at the same time. You attack and defend. So you attack someone and do your damage, but you also have that 18 AC against them because you attack them. His buddy, no. But if you attack multiple people, you get AC for multiple of them, right? So it's like it encourages you to spread out your attacks and hit a bunch of people, right? I think that makes you feel like a cool warrior. And then you have engagement. It's your achieve action as a reaction. You may attack a creature that moves out of your melee range if you attacked it on your previous turn. So, in my system, not everyone has attacks of opportunity. Only martial characters, only those trained, have attacks of opportunity. You walk up and start hitting someone, when they turn to run, they are trained well enough to actually make good on that opening. Your wizard doesn't know how to do that. Most normal characters don't know how to do that. Only if you have the engagement feature can you make attacks of opportunity. Because I don't like how in 5e, attacks of opportunity just lock everyone down and no one moves, and there's no one actually takes advantage of the battlefield and the various terrain and all this stuff. That's why GMs don't make cool terrain, because they know it's like the players aren't going to be able to access no one's going to be able to access any of this cool terrain. They're all stuck because no one wants to get a free attack against them, free attack of opportunity. Oh, a reaction, just total extra attack out of nowhere. Guess what? In my system, even if you use your action to get that attack of opportunity, you used an action. It's not this extra free reaction that comes out of nowhere. You have to actually use your action on your next turn to take a reaction. So, and then you get all of your actions back at the end of your current turn, because it logically works no other way. So yeah, like you can do this. You can attack someone as he's moving, but it's not just this free attack out of nowhere. So even if you as players are fighting people who have attacks of opportunity, and you move out of their range and they hit you, that's a hit they would have done anyway if you had been standing there. So you really didn't lose anything, right? But it's still a disincentive. It's still like, I'm gonna hit you if you move, right? It's like, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I can defend, but it's there, it's something, but it's not everything. All right. These are your class features past level 1. You get the first 3 in across the first 10 levels, because you also have path features and subclass features, so you only get the first 3 across the first 10 levels. Indomitable, I forget what level this is at. You may re-roll a failed save once per rest. Watchful Combatant. No, Improved Watchful Combatant. When you use your Watchful Combatant feature, you gain defense against an additional creature. So, if you attack one creature, you're actually defending against him and someone else, right? And then Grappling Combatant. When you hit a target with an attack and you're not wielding a shield, you grapple the target. So it's like, if you looked at I forget if it was the combat one or the action economy one, grappling, you grapple a certain body part, their mouth, their arms, their legs, stop them from moving. So when you grapple someone successfully, they cannot take an action with that body part, right? So as you're attacking someone, you can grapple their arm, and so they can't attack you, back. It's like just automatic, no roll required. You, when you hit a target, not just any attack, when you hit a target, you automatically grapple them. Like, that's kind of cool. And the past level 10, you get second wind, spend stamina to regain HP equal to your level. Invictus, you may reroll a failed save twice per rest. Skilled Combatant, you add half your level to your attack rolls. Yeah, you feel like a fighter. You feel like, I am the weapon master. It's super cool to play an Armiger in higher levels. Remember, class features like this that are pretty powerful, higher level play. Most GMs only play 1 to 10, so GMs, don't freak out. It's not going to break your game. This is when you want them to fight big high level monsters, and they need that kind of thing to even survive. But it still feels cool to add half your level to your attack rolls. Like, at this level, you'd be like, what, level 13, 14? It's like, you're adding +7 on top of all your regular... That feels like a bonus. That feels like, super cool. All right, Superb Watchful Combatant. When you use your Watchful Combatant feature, you defend against another additional creature. So, you attack one guy, you defend against 3. you can attack another guy and defend against 3 more. You can like have like full surround. You're in the middle of all the bad guys, and you're just like blocking weapons and swords and attacking people in a hail. It's like you feel like this level 17 warrior. It's super cool. Of course, 5e, by just giving you AC all the time, just eliminate that feeling because you're just invincible all the time, no matter what from level 1. It's like, no, it's cool to earn it and feel it eventually. It's like, man, I've been struggling up to this point and now I can defend against everyone. Yeah, it feels cool. All right, reliable attack. I forget what level this is. You cannot roll below 5 on any attack roll. So I took the rogue's reliable talent, and I was like, when you're this high level, you're good at swords, at weapons and stuff. You just can't fail. So you roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, or a 5, and it's just treated as 5. And so that's another boost. It's not a numerical boost to the top end, it raises the floor. Because that's something often neglected in design, in 5e definitely, is they raise the ceiling so much. Rogues, you have your expertise and all the blah blah blah, so you get up to 35, but they don't raise the floor much. Yes, with rogues, they're the only ones that do raise the floor. I think the other classes should actually get good at what they do most. When you're up there to like level 17, you shouldn't be able to roll below a 5, or you shouldn't be able to roll below half your level, or maybe your whole level or something, right? Like there should be certain things where you're like, hey, I want to be reliable on this, right? It's what I call reliable rolls. So you can, like, I don't have it written here, but in my mind, conceptually there are features where it's like you can, at 10th level or 20th level or something, you can choose something to be reliable on. You can't roll below half your level on that thing. And so you're just really good at it. I think everyone deserves that when you get up to that super high level. It's like, I am consistently good at this. I think the idea of high, level 16, level 20 characters just fumbling natural ones all the time, it's like, you're supposed to be fighting like giants and dragons and entities of other realms. I think at that point, that is when you dispense with the low level play. I'm all for low level play. You can read my stuff and look and see how little HP and how little, how low your stats are, your attributes. I'm all for low level play. I'm all for not underpowered, but middle powered characters. All for it. But I think when you get to high level play, it should be high level play. You should actually feel special and it should make sense. The fantasy should make sense with what you're doing. Anyway, Bloodied but Unbowed, which is, it's a part of the poem Invictus. Anyway, you may reroll a failed save thrice per rest. So yeah, you get Indomitable the first time, second time, and third time. So you're, you can reroll failed save thrice. You're Bloodied but Unbowed. You're Invictus, unconquerable. And then lastly, at level 19 or 20, I forget which one you get it. Sure Strike. You cannot roll below your level on any attack roll. I think I meant to say half your level. Because that's kind of natural 20s all the time? I don't know. Probably was supposed to say half your level. Because the first one was 5 and this is, supposed to say half your level. It's supposed to be level 10. You're not supposed to roll under 10. That was the typo. Anyway, we're gonna keep going. We're going to get to the path. Last time I went through the class of the subclass of the Tactician Fighter. I'm just gonna go through the fighter path, right? So just so you could like connect all the dots yourself and see what the whole class would do and all the various features, right? So your Armiger is your class, your Tactician is your subclass, but Tactician lies along the path of the fighter, right? So if you're an Armiger, you have two paths. You have the path of the fighter Armiger, and you have the path of the Spellblade Armiger, right? So it's like, I'm an Armiger, I use medium armor, martial weapons, I'm good at what I do, right? I have all these various features and stuff. But I can choose to mix it with magic and be the Spellblade. The Spellblade path has several subclasses, but it's like, here's the Eldritch Knight and then the like Arcane Warrior, right? Are you using like far realm powers, or are you using like elemental or mind powers, etc.? And so those are the different subclasses lying along the magic path of the Armiger, the Spellblade path. And then there's like, nah, I don't want any magic or anything else. I just want to go straight up, just mundane weapons and stuff. That's when you choose the fighter path. Yeah, you're an Armiger, but you're a fighter. That's just all you do, right? And so there are, in the book, two subclasses along the fighter path, the Tactician and the Cleaver. So these are the features you get as a fighter. At level 1, actually, because you get a lot of features at level 1 in my system. In 5e, so many people start at level 3. If you're a veteran, if you've played 5 times, then you want to start at level 3 because that's when you get your subclass, that's when all the good stuff happens, right? So I'm like, why not just give them all their cool features at level 1 so they don't have to keep starting at level 3? Just give it to them at level 1. So at level 1, you have weapon mastery. As a fighter, you can use weapon maneuvers at novice proficiency instead of waiting until you have journeyman proficiency. So, again, I've talked about it in probably the combat one. Each weapon has weapon maneuver attached to it, and you normally have to wait to level 4 until you get journeyman proficiency in weapons in order to use that. As a fighter, it's like, not using magic, I'm going all in on weapons. You get that early. You get it at level 1. So you can use your weapon maneuvers at level 1 of any weapon you have. It's like this. Okay, so all 3 features of the fighter path are all about your weapons. Like, you are the weapon master of weapon users, right? It's like you are just like and later you can decide if you're more tactical or more just like, cleaver, just destroy them. But still, weapons. That is your thing as a fighter, as the fighter path. All right. So next feature, stow and draw. You can stow and draw a new weapon with each attack you make. So that's really cool. Because if you need to use different maneuvers, you're not having to spend an action or a basic action, which is my version of free action. You don't have to spend a basic action or your full action to pull out a new weapon because you really want to trip this guy and you really want to disarm that mage over there. You can just switch out all your weapons and attack everyone with all different stuff, and you can stow and draw with the same action that you use to attack. So you can have 14 weapons on you and use all of them and never have to drop them. It's like you're the walking armory that you know how to use all of your weapons all the time effectively. It's like, I want to play this class. Someone GM this for me. I think this would be so much fun to do. All right. And then lastly, at like level 7 or 8 or something, you get the last feature of the fighter path, preferred weapon. Choose one weapon to become your preferred weapon, letting you use 3 different maneuvers of your choice with that weapon. It's like, you know how to do everything with this, baby. It's like, and that's a high enough level when you've used a lot of weapons and a lot of weapon maneuvers. And so now you kind of know your favorites and you get to have them all in one thing. And then now you get access to others. You don't have to those certain weapons that maybe you didn't like them. They didn't do enough damage or they were too heavy or blah blah blah. It's like you can have those all in your preferred weapon. It's like I really want to see someone take a dagger and use the topple knock prone effect. It's like, I'm so good at my dagger, throw it in your face and you knock prone. It's like I want to see it. So yeah. First. It says, just like with Armiger, it says all Armigers need strength in battle to be successful. This says fighters need good dexterity to make the most of their skills. It doesn't give you a bonus. And same thing when you go to your tactician, it says tactician fighters rely on their intelligence to deduce their opponent's tactics and plan counterattacks. So it's telling you where you should prioritize. But only the first one, the class one, gives you a bonus. So the reason why it says dex here is because, as you'll know from a previous video, when you have at least a 15 dex score, you can attack twice with the same action. So it says in order to make the most of their skills. When you're really good at attacking and fighting, what happens when you get to attack double? You're making the most of your skills. So it kind of hints there. It doesn't tell you exactly why you should reach 15, but it's like, if you have a decent dex, it doesn't have to be 20, but if it's at least 15, you're attacking twice. When everyone else is attacking once, you're going to make the most of your skills. So yeah, you may notice, astute viewer, hold on. My class tells me I need strength, my path tells me I need dexterity, and my subclass tells me I need intelligence. Talk about mad, multi-ability score dependent, or multiple attribute dependent. It's like, yeah, intentionally. Here's another thing I fix in 5e, or fix from 5e. If you're still staying with me, in 5e, you have a few classes, pretty much wizard, there are a few, but I'll use wizard as an example, where they just need intelligence. Of course, everyone would like to have con. I'm not saying that no one needs con, but I'm saying for your class only needs you to have intelligence. That's it. Nothing else. You only need one attribute. So wizards are pretty powerful because they only need one thing. There are a lot of martials, including paladins and monks are especially bad, that need 3 different attributes. You need your constitution and your wisdom and your dexterity. Because your different abilities are tied to each different attribute. So you need decently high scores in all of them. And so that leads to those characters being underpowered. It's like, I have a +3 to this and a +5 to that and a +4 to this. And the wizard is like, yeah, I have a +10 to everything I do because I only have to use one attribute. It's like, that's another reason it's unbalanced. So I had 2 options because I wanted to fix that. I don't want to just leave anything broken. I have to fix everything. Gotta catch them all. So I have 2 options, or I had 2 options. It was, make everyone single ability dependent, where they only need 1 stat, or make everyone multi-ability dependent. where you have to have more than one. And so I was like, well, there are some things like, like your monk and your paladin, blah, blah, blah. There are definitely classes in here that need to have multiple high scores for their stuff to work. That just has to happen. So I can't do the thing where, make everyone single. It's just not possible, right? So my only other option is make everyone require multiple scores. And instead of 2, it's like, actually, if we make you require 3 scores, where every class, path, and subclass combination requires 3 different scores, that actually leads to some interesting choices. Yeah, you need this and that. What are you going to prioritize? Where are you going to put your stats? How are you going to do this, right? It's not just, automatic. I just put the thing in the high things because I need to. It's like, no, you actually have player choices. I think the fun of the game comes from making choices. That's the very critical, foundational, core seed of the whole thing is choices. If you don't give players choices to make, meaningful choices, difficult choices, they're not really playing the game. The whole activity we do here is making choices. That's kind of our whole thing. So I was like, all right, every class, so like when you make your character, 3 scores are important to you. You have to have them. But that means if you choose, only 2, if your stats aren't good enough, you only choose 2, you're going to have some kind of weakness. And I think weakness with the character, where you don't just have everything all the time perfect, having some weakness, I got to watch out for that, makes it more interesting. There's something you got to skirt around, and it's something you want to put effort into. All right, here's another thing. In my system, there's more progression after level 1. There's more progression outside of your regular, scripted progression than there is in your scripted progression. There's so much stuff you can do outside of it. Your oaths and your deals with entities and blah, blah, blah. There's so many things you can, so many resources you can spend. I mean, you can actually, in my system, take gold to an altar and spend the gold and convert it into HP. Like either temporary or like refilling, or increase your maximum HP. That one is a little more expensive. It's like 7 gold per HP you want to increase. But you can actually increase your maximum HP by spending your money. You can increase your dex and your con and all sorts of other attributes by spending silver and copper, etc. Like spending gems and whatnot to give perks and features. Like there's so many things you can do. Treasure is actually useful in my system. So if you're looking at what you get in the base thing, you're like, I need high scores in all of these, but my stats are so low, I'm never going to get it. It's like, if you play and you adventure and you go out and do stuff, you will get it, but you have to earn it. You don't just get it for free because you leveled up. You don't get a participation trophy. You're not just going to have a handout, you leveled up, you win. It's like, no, you get a little bit of something, and then the rest of the something that you need, you got to get yourself, right? So that's my whole thing. I want you to be in the driver's seat. I want you to have the reins. I as the GM or the game designer, don't want to just tell you, all right, you get the stuff, and then the stuff, and then the more stuff, and then you win. I want you to make that happen for yourself, because that's when you have the most fun. We're like, I did that. I earned this. I got this thing, and I chose to spend all my gold on HP, or I spent all my gold increasing this score. Like, you can increase your scores by spending treasure. You can increase your scores by like making a deal with a hag, or lots of things. And it's actually mechanically supported. It's not just like, sure, any GM could say, you make a deal with the dragon and you get extra HP. Like, anyone could do that, but they don't. Why? Because there's no real price you have to pay. It'd just be kind of cheap. In my system, I laid out all the prices that you could pay. Your soul, your body share, your devotion, your oaths, your actual treasure. There's so many things, and so you can actually go to different entities, and like the temple and the king and the dragons and the eldritch entities, all the stuff. You can actually spend all your various resources and choose what's most important to you and buff yourself outside of your regular basic progression. I think regular basic progression is actually pretty good. I don't think it's lacking, but it's not everything. You're always left wanting a little bit more, and so it encourages you to actually adventure and get cool stuff. Anyway, that's my thing. My players really like the racing class and path and all that, the structure of it. We have so much fun. It's so good to actually have deep customization and have choices. Character creation. You actually get to make some really interesting characters, but as you play, you can choose what's important to you and where you put your stats and your abilities and your upgrades and whatnot. It's really cool. Next time I'll probably talk about what you get when you level up, because you get an ASI every level, but it's just 1 point. So at level 1, you get your class ASI, for a fighter, for Armiger, it's strength score. And then at level 2, you get another +1 to any score you want. Level 3, another +1, right? So you get 9 more +1s, which evens out to about the same as 5e. I think you get all the stuff just a little bit sooner than you do in 5e, maybe, but it's about the same. So you don't have anything less than 5e, but you get it every single time instead of like waiting 4 levels and then getting 2 all at once, or a feat. Like you get a feature every single level, and your ASI, your +1 ASI every single level. You don't have to choose. There's always something that you get, right? Like, it's not everything because your stats are low. It's not enough. You still want more, but you still get cool stuff every time. And it's not like, oh man, I really want a cool feature. I want to be able to do something cool, but man, I really want my stats to be higher. It's like you get both. Don't worry, but neither of them are enough, and you can get a lot more from everything else. It's a really good balance of all of it. Anyway, I think that's it. Thank you to my patron, Jack McCarthy, and anyone else who may have joined, because I'm uploading these things like a month ahead. So if I have 10 patrons by the time this video releases, thank you all. I really don't know. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. YouTube pleasantries go a long way. I have Patreon in the description. And eventually my patrons at a certain tier will actually get access to the PDF, either in whole or in part. And yeah, thanks for watching. God bless.